Right. Now, as well as discussing all of the main parties contesting this general election, we're also looking at the platforms of the smaller parties. And today it's the turn of the British National Party. The BNP is a nationalist party and it says it wants to put local people first. They are pledging to stop all immigration into the UK and offer grants to people of foreign descent who volunteer to leave the country. They want to stop what they call the Islamisation of the UK, banning hijabs, burqas and the building of new mosques. They also want to abolish anti-discrimination laws and be tough on law and order by reintroducing the death penalty. Well, we've been joined in the studio by party chairman Adam Walker. Welcome to the Daily Politics. It's reported your membership is now down to a few hundred. In the last election, you lost 99.7% of your vote share, winning just 1,600 votes. And the party has been riven with infighting and defections. Why is the party in such a perilous state?
Yes, it's been quoted that our membership is right down. It's not.
Isn't it?
No, it isn't. It's sitting at around about 3,000. But what we've got to remember as well, of course, is that every month and every year for the past 7 years, we've actually operated in a profit. So we're doing quite well in that respect. Right.
So, sorry, how many members have you got, did you say?
Around about 3,000, but it's growing. And we're doing a lot better since the collapse of UKIP.
Right. You're doing a lot better since the collapse of UKIP, or they must have lost you.
Yeah.
How much, though? There has been a decline in your membership overall in the last few years. How much of that is down to your leadership?
It's not down to my leadership. What it's down to is the fact that we've got UKIP, for example, who have been promoted by the mass media.
So they're doing better than you, and they're more appealing?
They have done it in the past, but what we've seen with the collapse of UKIP since Brexit, we're starting to gain members from them, and we're quite pleased about that.
Right. One of your policies is implement zero tolerance for drug dealers and violent thugs. Yet you were given a 6-month suspended sentence in 2012 after verbally abusing 3 young school children, chasing them in your 4x4 and then slashing the tyres of their bikes with a sheath knife. And you were a school teacher at the time.
Yeah.
If that's not thuggish behaviour, then what is?
It was described as the judge as a rush of blood to the head, and I apologise for that at the time.
Are you really the right person to be the leader of a political party behaving like that?
And the fact is, of course, that is, I do apologise for that, and I've said that I apologise for it. But if we're looking at criminality, we just need to look, I mean, you look at your recent programme, 3 Girls. And it talked about the criminality that's happening.
But hang on. You can't just brush it to the side like that, because you are, the chairman of this party, of the British National Party, and yet that sort of behaviour you think can just be excused by a brief rush to the head?
I don't think it can be excused at all, and I did apologise for it at the time.
But is an apology really enough? You actually had a 6-month suspended jail sentence.
Indeed, but if we want to look at criminality again, we look at what's happened in Rochdale in your programme recently.
And those people were convicted and they went to jail.
Yeah.
So would you be happy for one of them to be in charge of, or the chairman of, a party?
And if we want to look at other criminals, we could look at Tony Blair, for example, who took us to an illegal war under the pretence of weapons of mass destruction. And I believe, and members of our party believe, that he should be up at court as a criminal.
Right. So, well, they're not here, and you are fielding candidates at this election. So you've been banned from teaching.
No, I haven't been banned from teaching.
You still teach karate,
yes,
apparently.
I was teaching karate on Friday night.
Should you?
Of course I should.
Really? What, after you chased 3 young children?
I have...
and you slashed their tyres with a sheath knife? I
have recommendations from people who come to my club. I teach children in there, and I have international and national champions who train out of my club.
All right.
Nobody has a problem.
All right, well, let's move away from your character and on to some of the policies. You want to offer repatriation grants to encourage people of foreign descent to leave the country.
We believe Britain is full up.
Sure, but who would be eligible for that grant?
There are enough people in Great Britain now.
That's fine. That's a very broad statement. I've taken my other guests through policies specifically. Who would be eligible for this grant?
There are far too many people in our country at this point in time. There is enough. Our infrastructure cannot deal with the amount of people who are coming in, and we need to make sure that they have.
And how would you do it?
Dentists. We need to, well, what the government should have done, and consecutive governments beforehand, they should have done a feasibility study to find out how many places were needed in our infrastructure, schools, hospitals, emergency departments. But we've got teachers.
Sure, I take your broad point that you feel people feel that their hospitals or their schools are under pressure, or their public services. But what I'm asking you, you're wanting to offer repatriation grants to encourage people of foreign descent to go back, in your words, to the country you think they came from. Who would be eligible for that grant?
I've spoken to parents recently on the school gates, and they are really concerned about the amount of people that are being allowed to come into our...
But are you just offering simple solutions that actually just don't, add up to a row of beans? Who would be eligible for your repatriation grant? Would it just be people who were born abroad?
Certainly not. No.
Right. Well, so who would it be? I'm asking. Can you tell me?
Well, we could use, for example, some of the money that we're currently spending in foreign aid. I think it's nobody's mentioned that one so far in the election debate. I think it's around about £13.5 billion that's been spent in foreign aid to some of the most corrupt countries in the world.
Right, but which people do you want to leave the country? Who are you talking about?
Listen, we're not saying that we want people to leave. What we're saying is that we need a halt on immigration until we can get...
But what's a repatriation grant then? What's a repatriation grant for?
We need to find out who is in this country legally and who is here illegally. And once we've done that, then of course we can move on from there.
What, you're going to pay people who are here illegally to go back to where you think they have come from?
Well, we've got far too many people in the country at this point in time, and we need to stop it. People are suffering on the streets. I've spoke to people on the streets. I even spoke to a Jamaican lady the other day, and she's fed up of immigration.
Right.
She's a settled minority.
But this is one of your policy solutions. What do you say to those who claim you're a racist party?
It's absolute nonsense. It's not racist to oppose mass immigration, and indeed the Archbishop of Canterbury, he said himself that it's not racist to oppose mass immigration.
But you haven't actually been able to explain one of your key policies, which is a repatriation grant.
We're extremely concerned, and we're not racist. It's just a label that that's been put up on us over years.
Right,
but it's not racist to oppose mass immigration. It's a numbers game.
But a few years ago, Nick Griffin, who was the leader of the party, said, yes, we are a racist party. Was he joking?
Well, that's why he's not the leader anymore.
Right, because he was wrong.
Yes.
Right. Why did he think that the BNP is a racist party, his own party?
I don't know what Nick Griffin thought.
Now, you say you want to stop what you call the Islamisation of Britain, banning the hijab, the burqa, the building of new mosques. Why this particular focus on Muslims and Islam?
Well, we don't think that Islam is compatible with our way of life, as we've seen recently. And
what about all the British Muslims who live here?
You want about it, but
no, I'm not shaking my head. What I'm saying is why? Because there are lots of British Muslims. Why is it not compatible?
We understand that not all Muslims are the same, but there are a small minority of Muslims who are extremists, and we think that the government's job is to protect the people of Great Britain and protect them in a way that is suitable for them.
Do you not think there are extremists in all walks of life, in all religions?
Yeah, there are extremists in all walks of life, but if we look at the recent events that have happened here, just down the road, somebody was mowed down by a Muslim extremist. We've got female genital mutilation, we've got acid attacks, we've got people who are gang raping children.
Are you an extremist?
I'm certainly not an extremist, no, I'm quite the opposite.
Adam Walker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, throughout this week, we'll...
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.